Hey everyone, my name is Abby and I'm here to present to the class that the death penalty is an effective punishment. This was produced by Sabrina Korpak, Leslie Miller, Rachel Womack, and myself. Capital punishment is allowed under the U.S. Constitution. Although the Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel or unusual punishment, this amendment originated from the English Declaration of Rights in 1689. Back then, there were extreme punishments for minor crimes. The rights that inspired the Eighth Amendment encouraged just punishments instead. Historically, every society had the death penalty, such as crucifixion, quartering, and getting stoned to death, to name a few. In the US, they considered some historical punishments cruel and unusual. Firing squads and hangings were common methods for execution. But some states have more humane options for capital punishment, such as lethal injections that can make a person unconscious and result in death within just minutes. The Fifth Amendment states that no one should be deprived of their life without due process. The ones sentenced for capital punishment have been tried, found guilty of a serious crime, such as aggravated murder, and that sentence is allowed. In Trope versus Doles, Justice Earl Warren quotes, "It cannot be said to violate the constitutional concept of cruelty. Fines, imprisonment, and even execution may be imposed depending upon the enormity of the crime. But any technique outside the bounds of these traditional penalties is constitutionally suspect. The Eighth Amendment must draw its meaning from the evolving standards of decency that mark the progress of a maturing society." Here we discuss the Furman v. Georgia case. Supreme Court did not abolish or ban capital punishment because it was cruel or unusual. It was unconstitutional for juries to have the option of sentencing guilty to capital punishment, and constitutional for sentencing to be completed in two phases. One, determining guilt or innocence, and two, determining the sentence. Some offenses are legally punishable by death. Some examples of this are the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013, hate crimes, rape, and murder. The death penalty is an effective punishment for two of criminal justice's main goals: retribution and deterrence. Retribution, or just deserts, is the idea that the criminal gets the punishment he or she deserves. The common biblical quote and phrase from the Code of Hammurabi, "eye for an eye," shows that anyone who commits a serious crime deserves a similar punishment. Many societies in history used capital punishment to bring justice for serious crimes, such as murder, rape, and military offenses. Cesar Beccaria, creator of classical criminology, stated that crime is a choice, attractive to commit if it has great benefits and little effort. Criminals can weigh the pros and cons. He mentioned that punishment should be more painful than the crime committed, quoting, "Let the punishment fit the crime." Retribution is not the same as revenge. Revenge is defined as, according to the dictionary, one, an act or instance of retaliating in order to get even, and two, an opportunity for getting satisfaction. While retribution is defined as recompense for injury or loss, notice the definition of revenge is more individual, while the punishment aspect of retribution is the state authority returning to the convict. Revenge does not involve any legal procedures. Another goal the death penalty fits into is deterrence. Connecting this classical criminology again, it is the fear of punishment, which is why some individuals don't commit any crimes. Capital punishment is the ultimate punishment for aggravated murder in most states. Therefore, that fear is the reason, especially death. In 1973, Isaac Eric did a study and concluded that for every convict executed, 7 lives were saved because others are deterred for committing homicides. Follow-up studies showed similar results. Some studies show inconclusive results about the death penalty serving as a deterrent. According to classical criminology, deterrence is best when the punishment is swift, severe, and timely. The punishment is severe enough for a serious crime like murder. It's not timely because it takes years for the execution to happen, nor swift because the death penalty is rarely carried out. Just because some states without the death penalty have low murder rates doesn't mean that it fails as a deterrent. The states that allow capital punishment would have higher murder rates if they didn't use the death penalty. Capital punishment also deters the murderer from murdering again. Just like drug dealers are locked up in prisons to prevent drug use, killers must be executed to prevent them from murdering again, either while incarcerated or in society, which is why the death penalty serves as permanent incapacitation. Here's a quote stating, "We cannot know whether the murderer on death row suffers more than his victim suffered. However, unlike the murderer, the victim deserved none of the suffering inflicted." Opponents of the death penalty argue that innocent people are convicted and sentenced to death for crimes they did not commit. However, the use of technology in science and investigation has proven to be a powerful tool for law enforcement. For example, many law enforcement agencies are now videotaping suspect interrogations to ensure investigations are fair and unbiased. Likewise, the use of GPS and cell phone data can track the location of suspects. More powerful DNA sciences provide us with the ability to accurately identify suspects. Such advances have resulted in investigations that provide significant evidentiary value to the probability of a wrongful conviction. Many opponents of the death penalty claim that capital punishment is a racist practice that targets offenders of minority races. In this 2010 race distribution chart by the US Census Bureau, whites take up 64%, blacks take up 12%, Hispanics take up 16%, and other minorities take up 6.4%. According to this chart, we found on death penalty info, Caucasian inmates were over half who were executed, and other three-fourths on death penalty cases. Only 24% of minority races were in death penalty cases, while 44% were executed. Retributive justice suggests that the best way to respond to a crime is with an act that is equal to the crime. This sounds vindictive. However, retribution is not about revenge. Revenge responds to harm and insult with the intent to cause suffering, while retribution responds to moral wrongs and seeks justice. Retribution is based on the principle of lex talionis, or the law of retaliation, a retaliation by law, authorized by law. The beginnings of such principles can be found in the Bible, Exodus 21:24, or an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The death penalty is based as a need to balance the crime with justice. Public opinion is a driving force in our country. It is a way to determine what people want. A recent Pew Center survey found that 54% of Americans favor the death penalty. Capital punishment is favored because it is reserved for the most heinous crimes. In 2017, there were 39 murder convictions where the death penalty was imposed. As of October 12, 2018, there are 2,697 inmates on death row. Families deserve the right to closure. The death penalty provides an opportunity for closure to occur. However, it also restores faith in the judicial system. It lets societies know that the judicial system is not sympathetic towards the offender, but the victim in society. Thank you for watching our presentation. I hope you enjoy it, and let us know if you have any questions or comments. Thanks.